Breyer's Music Showcase is brought to you by the people over at Patreon. Pledge today and get access to exclusive perks. Link in the description. I bet you don't own any of these 10 albums I'm going to show. And if you own half of them, I'm going to have my older brother smack me in the face.
Ow! Ow! God dang it! Oh, God.
Welcome to Breyer's Music Showcase and welcome back to another video. And in this one, as I just stated, I have 10 albums in my collection and I'm going to see if you own any of these. And I bet you 100% you don't own any of them. One thing I want to get out of the way is that this was inspired by the channel Canadian Stud Muffin, a channel I watch pretty frequently, and he's done many videos in this style, and so I might as well do my own version here. And the reason why I'm so confident is mainly because I have a pretty vast collection. I have many artists and bands from many different genres and even around the world, and I don't think many people would venture out as much as me. So of course, make sure you stay to the end of the video, and once that's over, you can go ahead and comment how many of these albums you have, and we'll see if you own them. And like I said in the intro, if you own half of them, at least half, then I will have my older brother smack me in the face. And you can't lie. If you claim you have 5, you gotta send proof. Okay, that's enough stroking my own ego, and now let's go ahead and begin and showcase the 10 albums. Album number 1. And this is probably one I think maybe somebody might have, but it's gonna be very rare. And the album I have is from a duo, and the duo are two very notable kind of singers, if you will. One was in a band, the other went solo, and the duo is called Allman and Woman, also known as Gregg Allman and Cher. And this album is called To the Hard Way, and this was 1977 it originally came out, and this was basically a period of time where Gregg Allman and Cher were a married couple, and they decided to record an album, and it did poorly when it came out. The reviews were not good, and the tour was also very, very poorly received. And after hearing this album, I can see why, because to my ears, Gregg and Cher, they do not mesh that well vocally. There are some moments where it's actually okay. Like, I actually don't mind the first song, Move Me, but the majority of the album is kind of like this schmaltzy, very show-tuney, almost stuff you'd hear on a variety show, and it's just kind of okay, but it's just nothing worth seeking out. I would say the other song that's worth noting is the song Shadow Dream Song, which is written by Jackson Browne, and it's mainly just Gregg, and I think it's a kind of a pretty song. But aside from Move Me and Shadow Dream Song, everything else is kind of really bland and best left forgotten in time. So that is the first album. We have Allman and Woman, To the Hard Way. For the next album, and it's kind of ironic actually, because I actually talked about Cher, and thinking about Cher, of course she was in a duo originally, of course Sonny and Cher I'm talking about, but most people don't know is that Sonny had a solo career, albeit a very brief one. This is called Interviews, and this came out in 68, I want to say, 68, 67, something around that time. And I've talked about this album before, and it is terrible, absolutely god-awful. For all the reasons I've said in the past, Sonny is really not good of a singer. He's fine with Cher, but by himself he can only take so much before you just want to bash your head open, if you will. And yeah, it's only five songs, but literally nothing in here is redeemable. First song is like 10 minutes long, and it's just this psychedelic folk thing, and it's just an absolute mess, and none of the other songs fare any better. But lo and behold, I own it. Pretty obscure album, I must say. And yeah, there you go. That's going to be the next album in this video. Next up, we have a band where maybe somebody might know this one. again, it's a very obscure band, and I forgot where they're from actually. This is the only album I have from them, but I only got it just on album cover alone. So this album is called Staircase to the Day, and it's by a band called Gravy Train. Yeah, quite a name. And as I stated, I only got it for the album cover because if you couldn't tell, it's a Roger Dean artwork. Of course, Roger Dean, yes, Uriah Heep, and many other bands he's worked with. And I think the design's pretty cool. And the music itself is pretty fine. I actually don't mind it. It's kind of interesting. I just want to show the whole artwork here so you can see. There it is. So I can't really describe this style. It's kind of proggy, kind of psychedelic, a little bit of, I don't know, a little bit of a rock edge. It's kind of hard to explain. I can't really pinpoint it, but yeah, I don't have much to say to it aside from album cover is pretty cool, but I probably need to listen to this album again because like I said, I don't hate it. I didn't love it though, but it's definitely an interesting thing to own in my collection. It's good to have more Roger Dean as well, more of his artwork in here. But there you go. That's Gravy Train, Staircase to the Day. Now I'm very certain no one knows this particular band. They were from San Francisco, and this album came out in 1969. And the band is called Horses, and this is their self-titled debut album, and I think their only album. I can't really like verify it because there's really hardly any information on this band. But like I said, San Francisco bands, California bands, somewhere around that area, and yeah, it's kind of a folk rock, country rock album. Actually not bad actually. Like there's some songs I actually did like. Again, nothing mind-blowing, but there's some good moments here and there. If you like folk rock, country rock sort of sound, especially from the California, San Francisco area, who knows, you might enjoy this one. I actually literally got this. I just took pure chance on it because I saw the album cover, I saw the name, and it's just one of those moments where I had no idea what to expect, and so I took a chance, and yeah, honestly, it wasn't that bad. It's pretty solid. Again, there you go. So that's Horses with subtitle debut. So I believe we're kind of sticking with the US, UK market. Granted, I can't remember if Gravy Train is UK or US, but anyway, those are like the most popular countries I have in my collection, but now we're moving to a different country. We have a band I believe are from New Zealand. So the band is called Like a Storm, and this is their album Okura. I think the only reason I knew about this band is because I think a viewer recommended me this, and so I took a chance on it. And it's a pretty solid kind of late period rock album, but you can tell it has an Australian-New Zealand edge. It's because there's a heavy use of a didgeridoo on it, which is kind of interesting. Definitely a pretty solid album. Again, not amazing, but pretty good. I actually kind of dug it. It's been a while since I heard it, but I still remember I kind of dug it when I first heard it. So that's going to be the next one, Like a Storm, with their album Okura. Alright, well, I wanted to get at least one Japanese singer in here. As you know, I'm a huge fan of Japanese music, especially the pop scene. And I'm sure people who have been watching this channel can already assume I'm going to pull out a Maria Takeyoshi album. And while I was tempted to do that, because I'm pretty sure not many people have her anyway, I decided to go with something else. So here we have a singer by the name of Ari Sasaki. And this is her album called Colon. Colon. You know the sign. And it's just a kind of another, I think it came out 2013 is when this came out. And this is one of her, this is basically a full album. I think she mostly does singles, but here we have a full album. And I heard of her because I know she sung songs that appeared in anime, and some of the songs I've heard were really, really pretty, and I decided to check out if they were on an album, and so I went out and just bought this online. And yeah, it's a really, really strong pop album. There's a lot of diversity in this album too. Not only do you have, what you expect, like a modern J-pop album, but you also get elements of folk, even like singer-songwriter stuff, because there's some songs that's very acoustic guitar heavy. Then you have some like dance sort of sound. You have a good mixture of different genres, which I actually really dug about this one. Again, her vocals are very nice. I always love the sound of Japanese singing. It just has a elegance to it that I really enjoy to me. But yeah, I just want to get at least one Japanese singer in here and talk about someone else I don't really talk about too often. So there you go, that's the next one. Now we have a pop album, and we're going back to the US, and you probably won't recognize this one, but maybe if I give more context, the pieces will start flying into place. So this album is called Future Friends, and it's by a duo called Superfruit. And you probably don't know it off the bat, but if you can't tell by the album cover, hopefully, I'm not sure you can see it clearly, but these two people are basically two of the members of the a cappella group Pentatonics. Of course, those two of the members, they were always close, they were good friends, and so they decided to kind of have their own, like, I guess you can say a solo project with just the two of them. And it's actually a pretty solid pop album. I actually really dug it. I've had this for a number of years now, and I always gotta mention it every time I talk about it, because the cover, or the I guess pamphlet, booklet thing, is actually scratch and sniff. And I'm gonna see if it still smells good. I'm just gonna scratch it. Yep, still smells very fruity, which is something kind of cool. It's the only album in my collection that actually has a scratch and sniff scent to it, which is kind of nice, and it still smells good. Again, I forgot when I bought this. I want to say early 2017 maybe. That's really nice. But yeah, so if you're a fan of Pentatonics, you might want to check this one out if you're interested to see what the other members did outside of the group. You might be surprised. There are some good catchy numbers on this, but there you go. And now I want to get at least one obscure like indie rock band in this, and this is one of the albums I picked up from Bandcamp, which I still plan to make a video on still. And this is one that was kind of a surprise. It kind of came as a bonus with one of the CDs I bought, and so I got a free disc, so that's cool, and I actually kind of dug it. The band is called Sweet Pill, and this is their album, Where the Heart Is. You look at this, and it's kind of freaky when you look at it. It's kind of unsettling. But actually, the music is actually pretty chill. It's kind of like indie rock, bit of emo rock as well. Kind of a cool vibe. I kind of dug how their sound is. It's not long of an album. It's actually kind of short. It's like a little bit, half hour at least. And again, it has a very cool production. I like the lead singer. It's a female singer, and I like the tone of her voice. And the rest of the band kind of fit the tone very good. Just overall, a very pleasant surprise, because like I said, this came with one of the CDs I bought from Bandcamp. I think because they were on the same label, they kind of threw this in as a bonus. So I came in with very little expectation, but I was actually very surprised how much I actually dug it. So yeah, if you want to check out Sweet Pill, maybe check it out if you're into like indie rock emo stuff. Alright, now we get to another album that's kind of questionable and might be has a little controversy behind this one. We have Mission Earth by Edgar Winter. And this is one of those very obscure stuff that has a very fascinating backstory, because Mission Earth was a novel series created by the founder of Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard, and of course, Edgar Winter is a member of the church, and so they got together and they made this, just taking the books and just making like a rock opera out of it. And it is probably the most bizarre, kind of strange, and borderline creepy albums I've ever heard in my life, because again, I am not affiliated with Scientology, because I've read about it, and to this day I still have no freaking clue what they stand for. It's very confusing to me. but I got this purely just for the absurdity of it, because the lyrics on this are terrible. But I will say that Edgar does pull his weight. There were some very memorable melodies throughout, and there's some good hooks here, but it's just meshed with this this stupid sci-fi plot that makes no sense. You're jumping throughout the story to like random events and focusing on characters that probably don't matter based on what I've researched. It's just a very odd album, and I still don't know what to make of it, honestly, but it's in the collection. So again, I'm not part of the Church of Scientology. So, and the last CD I will show is a soundtrack album, and I'm pretty confident really not many people own this one, because this only came out very limitedly. I think it only went out to like DJs and stuff like that, but very few made to the public. But lo and behold, I was able to find one, and it still holds the record as the most money I've spent on a CD. And the album is the soundtrack to the animated film Cats Don't Dance. And I did a video of me unboxing and talking about kind of a little bit of the history of it, not a lot of it, but. And I can tell this was only released for like DJs, because you can't really see, but there's literally text printed on it that says for promotional use only, no sale allowed, must be returned on demand of copyright owner. So hopefully I won't get arrested for this. But yeah, I bought it. I think I paid for like $60 for this, because sometimes I've seen this thing go for like hundreds of dollars, which is crazy to me, but I was able to find one that was actually somewhat better priced, because I'm pretty sure that's going to be the cheapest I'll ever get it. But in any case, I love the movie. It's one of my favorite animated films, and so I just had to seek out the soundtrack, and I'm very fortunate to have this one in the collection. And yeah, so because of its rarity, I am very confident, for sure, little to no people have this in their collection as far as I'm concerned. But that's the last one I'm going to show. Alright, so that is the 10 albums here. So now I'm going to briefly recap them. So we have the Cats Don't Dance soundtrack, Mission Earth, Edgar Winter, Sweet Pill, Where the Heart Is, Super Fruit, Future Friends, Eri Sasaki, Like a Storm, Okura, Horses, self-titled debut, Staircase to the Day, Gravy Train, Interviews, Sonny Bono, and finally we have To the Hard Way by All Man and Woman. So in the comments below, let me know how many of these you actually own in your collection. I'm hoping you own none of these, but like I said, if you own at least 5, just 5, then I'll have my older brother smack me in the face, and I'll keep my promise to that. And remember, you can't lie, you gotta send in proof that you actually own all 5. Social media is in the description, so you can message me there. But other than that, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe if you are new, and until then, I will see you in the next video. Take care, and goodbye for now.